Motivation. I'm motivated. But what do you do when motivation is not enough? You rely on your work ethic. You rely on your discipline. That's my mentality. Now let's get it.
Yo, it's Julian Peters here. Welcome back to my Mentality Podcast. I'm happy to have you. Today we will be talking about obsession. Um, I know a lot of the times when we're, thinking of words, when we're using words, especially now, different translations and things like that, the term obsessed or obsession kind of has a negative connotation to it. I do not agree with that, although that can be the case in certain situations. I don't necessarily believe that when you're chasing a goal or you're trying to become successful, being obsessed with that process, I believe is an okay thing. So what led me to talk? Um, I'm still kind of hurt by it, but the Super Bowl outcome Sunday. Today is Tuesday. I've had a day to recover from the pain that I sustained during that day. I am a Kansas City Chiefs fan. I'm a big time Patrick Mahomes fan. Travis Kelsey is actually my favorite player. Tyreek, all those guys. Honey Badger again is another one of my favorite players. And my Chiefs were completely dominated by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I don't think anybody expected this. I didn't, at least. I thought it was a chance that they could lose the game. I did think the Bucks had the deeper roster, um, but I did not see domination coming at all. I don't think anybody in the world did. But great job by the Bucks. Great game plan. But Tom Brady. Think when you think about accomplishments, when you think about resume, when you think about legacy, when it comes to football, Tom Brady has not only cemented his, he's continuing to add up on it and build it. Tom Brady, most people consider to be the greatest of all time. I know I do, especially at the quarterback position. You talk about as a football player in general, that could be discussed. But as far as the quarterback position goes, I do believe Tom Brady is right. 43 years old, leaves the only franchise he plays with, goes to a different franchise, leads them to the Super Bowl his first year, beating three, I would say, future Hall of Fame quarterbacks. We know Drew Brees and Aaron Rodgers are going to the Hall of Fame, and barring any injury, Patrick Mahomes will be there too. I think we can all agree with that. I think Patrick Mahomes is a future GOAT, but again, that's another conversation, right? So Tom Brady is what I want to talk about because I think Tom Brady is the definition of what greatness is. And to me, when you look at greatness, I'm starting to see a word associated with a lot of the athletes and a lot of the elite of elite when it comes to greatness and building legacy. And that word is obsession. Again, as I mentioned earlier, being obsessive when it comes to your goal, when it comes to pursuing greatness, I do not think it's a bad thing. Tom Brady is obsessed with greatness. Tom Brady is obsessed with his craft and perfecting his craft, right? So if greatness is up here and we're trying to get to it, I think there's almost a level of obsession that we all have to have. That's whether you want to be, like myself, a bodybuilder. That's whether you want to be um, a student. That's whether you want to be a teacher. Whatever you want to be, success is going to need some level of obsession towards the craft that you're trying to become great in, that the legacy you're trying to build greatness in, right? So when I speak of obsession, I think obsession would be the umbrella, right? Now, if your goal is greatness or your goal is to become the best quarterback in NFL or your goal is to be the best student to ever enter the college campus, either one of those goals, the obsession to me is the top of the umbrella. And you guys have been to school. When you have that umbrella, there's little things that you can, put under it that help build up to that goal, right? Or help build up to that umbrella. So if you're obsessed with being great, let's say as whatever you want to be, under obsession is when you start to develop these skills to help you push towards being great. Okay. So Tom Brady, obsessive. He's obsessed with being great. He's obsessed with winning. He's obsessed with being considered one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. So, in him being so obsessive of this goal, he has been able to sacrifice a lot of things in order to push him towards greatness because of that obsession. So, his work ethic, bar none, above all, right? So, for those who are watching, if you see me look down a couple times, I'm actually reading some notes that I have and some quotes that I have. So, in being an obsessive of being great, of wanting to compete, of wanting to win, like Tom Brady, who I think we all can agree is the best winner in football with winning 7 Super Bowls. I've read some articles about Tom and his ability to prepare. From what I've seen, all his teammates, coaches, anybody that's been around him speaks about how much he puts into preparation for a game. So, and what I'm reading right now, this is an article written February 2nd, 2017. It said Tom Brady spends 16 hours per day on football in the week leading up to a game. The Super Bowl will be no exception. He'll prepare for the biggest game of the season and perhaps his career by doing exactly what he always does. 16 hours a day. How many of you listening, how many of you watching, look at me, hear me, can say that you're willing to put 16 hours a day into perfecting your craft? First of all, I didn't even know it was 16 hours in a day. I only thought it was 12. So Tom's already Superman in that level because he's doing 16 hours a day. I'm kidding. But that type of will to prepare yourself every day prior to a game is obsession. You are obsessed with the game of football. You are obsessed with making yourself the best you can be and being prepared the best you can be for the game ahead. I would argue that there's not too many quarterbacks that are willing to put in the time and the effort it takes to be that prepared for a game. Are you willing to take the time and the effort to prepare yourself enough for whatever you're wanting to do? You got a test coming up. It's the biggest test of your life. There's a party that weekend. The test is on Monday. You sacrifice going to that party so you can get an extra 8 hours of studying in? Or do you say, I can go to the party for 2 or 3 hours. I'll still study for 5 and I'll just make it up on Sunday. Or I'll wake up a little bit earlier on Monday, get another couple hours in. Or you could skip that party, get those 8 hours, get more hours on Saturday, get the more hours on Sunday, and wake up early on Monday and study more. That's preparing yourself to be great. That's how obsessed you have to be with wanting to be great, with wanting to perfect your craft, right? This is just my opinion, guys. I'm not telling you this is something you have to do, but there's a level of dedication involved in what I just read that I do not think a lot of us are able to reach right now. Does that mean we can't get to it? No, but we have to start diving into these. I call these people geniuses in the way that they approach things, right? We have to start diving into that mental. What are they doing to tap into that, to make themselves great, to build these legacies that I doubt anybody will compete with, right? Okay, so another part of the article, they talk to Jimmy Garoppolo. So keep in mind, this is about 3 years ago. Jimmy was the backup. Jimmy explained that he was shocked when he arrived at a meeting his rookie year, and Brady would be well versed in the material they were supposed to be learning that day. Okay, so everybody in the quarterback room was supposed to be learning coverages, blocking schemes, whatever that day. Jimmy G says Brady already knew all that. He had already spent time prior to their meeting the night before, the day before, preparing. So he was not only there in the meeting while the coaches are teaching, he's helping teach these philosophies, these schemes, these coverages to the other people. He said he'd come in and already be a day ahead of everybody. If we were on third down, he studied third down yesterday. I started picking up some things, and it really does help you. You walk in the next day and you're prepared, ready to roll. So just little things like that. It doesn't sound like it would be that important, but being that far ahead of the game, it gives you an edge. So Tom Brady sees Again, he's obsessed with his craft. He's obsessed with being great. He's obsessed with being better. He's competitive. He's obsessed with winning. He's obsessed with Super Bowls. So what do I have to do if I'm obsessed with this and I want this greatness and I want to build a legacy? What do I have to do to set myself and give myself an advantage or an edge? Tom Brady saw, I'm going to be more prepared than everybody that's around me, to everybody that I'm getting ready to play against. I'm going to be more prepared. That's a lot. It's a lot of work in being more prepared than everybody. But Tom Brady said, this is going to give me an edge. This is my advantage. I'm going to out prepare you. That's obsessed. He's obsessed. This is what he figured out a way to make himself better and give himself an advantage. You have to be obsessed with the game. You have to be obsessed with wanting to be great in order to be willing to do something like that, in my opinion. So, another part of an article, Tom uses neuroscience to train his body into developing new and improved habits for success. So if you read his book, The TB12 Method, How to Achieve a Lifetime of Sustained Peak Performance, Tom quotes, to create stronger, faster connections in our brains, we need to practice a habit, skill, or behavior again and again. The more we practice the habit, skill, or behavior, the more automatically our brain recognizes it. So this quote does not reflect just sports, but any form of success and performance, whether you're an entrepreneur, author, or simply setting yourself goals for yourself. Creating the right habits is crucial in getting the outcome you set for yourself. Guys, it's right there. It's right there. He's creating habits. He recognized that in order to give himself an edge, in order to have a faster connection in his brain, he needed to build up um, behaviors and habits and skills over and over. So when you see they call Tom, you can even bring up Peyton Manning if you want to. Those two guys have an ability to read coverage and dissect defenses so quickly, right? Boom, boom. They can see what's going on. How do you get that? By constantly preparing, by the hours and hours of film, by all of those things. I'm pretty sure that Peyton Manning or Tom Brady can look at the way that a linebacker is lined up. He might have his inch 2 feet forward, his right foot 2 inches forward, and his left foot back. And Tom Brady has picked out that every time he stands like that, he's blitzing because he's watching so much film, because he's preparing himself so much. That type of detail, that type of ability to prepare, to me, is still under that umbrella of being obsessed with being great, being the greatest quarterback of all time, to being obsessed with being a winner, with being a Super Bowl champion, obsessed with building his legacy. You have to be some type of obsessed to be able to find that type of great success. That's what I believe. Okay. I'm not talking about you get an A on a test if you're a student. I'm not talking about you win a local show if you're a bodybuilder. I'm not talking about you win one championship. I'm not talking about you win one shootout if you're a basketball player. Whatever it may be, I'm not talking about wins. One win. That's great, right? We're talking about building a legacy of greatness. So when your name is mentioned, it's mentioned with greatness. In order to tap into that, there's a level of obsession that you have to have with perfecting your craft and yourself. Are you willing to find that level? Have you found that level? I'm still trying to find that level myself. I'll be honest. I keep it authentic. All right. Y'all know that. Most people that know me, I'm straightforward. I am a bodybuilder, men's physique competitor. I do believe I have what it takes to become a pro in my sport. There's a lot that goes into it, right? You got your prep as far as food goes. And I love food, y'all. So that's hard. You got workouts, you got cardio. Am I obsessed with that? Am I obsessed with being a pro and putting IFBB pro by my name? Has my actions shown a level of obsession, commitment, dedication? Because y'all already know the motivation thing I'm not really with. Yeah, I can be motivated the first week of prep, first 2 weeks, maybe 3. What about 4? What about those days when you got to work late, you still got to go to the gym? Or like me, when I was in school, I'm coming home from work, going to the gym, coming back, having homework, still having to get up early for cardio. Was I motivated then? Nah. No. Nope. There wasn't no motivation there. All I could do was focus on my goal and say, you got to get up and do this, because your motivation runs out. I don't care what anybody says. You're not motivated 16-week prep, 12-week prep to get up at 5:30 a.m. But was I obsessed with becoming a pro? No. Can't say I was, because my actions and my work ethic didn't show that I was obsessed with that. You look at some of these bodybuilders today, how meticulous they are in their detail. One of the guys that I watched here lately, Nick Walker, young kid, just turned pro, got fourth at his first pro show, really splashed on the scene last year, just a mutant, a monster, right? 26, 27 years old. And I watched the podcast where Nick was explaining some of the things he do. When he's in prep, preparing for a show, he goes to bed at the same time. He wakes up at the same time every day. He has the same meals at the same time every day. He takes his supplements at the same time every day. He is working out. Everything is worked around at the same time every day. I found that interesting because that was Nick Walker. But then I also looked at some stuff about Tom Brady. Tom Brady believes that you get 8 hours, he needs 8 to 9 hours of sleep a day. So no matter what, he's getting 8 to 9 hours of sleep a day. In doing so, Tom mentioned that he calls that like rest and recovery time and ability to regenerate. So it's very important for Tom to get that 8 hours of sleep. He mentions that. So his schedule revolves around him getting sleep 8 hours a day. Okay. Nick Walker the same way. So that's, again, another, to me, when you're obsessed with wanting to be great, wanting to be a pro like Nick was, and now Nick says he's going to win 10 Olympics. So he's obsessed with bodybuilding. He's obsessed with being a winner. So he's putting in the work, he's putting in the effort. That type of dedication, that type of detail would come easy when you're obsessed with finding the greatness in whatever you're trying to do for perfect that craft. I'm sorry, I can't say perfect today. I don't know what's going on. All right. So story time. I was driving down the street, whatever, listening to the radio, and this guy was being interviewed. I forgot his name, but he was being interviewed. He said after Tom Brady's first Super Bowl win, which is 2001, I believe, when they defeated the greatest show on turf, St. Louis Rams, he was wanting to expand the game of football globally. So obviously, when you look at sports, football is more of an American sport. I think we can all agree with that, right? Okay, so basketball, more global. Soccer, more global. Even baseball, I would say, has a more global impact than football. So this guy wanted to try and develop some like seminars or, meet and greets overseas to try to bring more money to the game, obviously, by having a more global impact for those athletes. So one of the people that he wanted to bring on this tour was Tom Brady. Now, Tom Brady had just won a Super Bowl, hot commodity at the time, very valuable. So having him there would have been a big deal, right? So the man said that he reached out to Tom Brady's agent to speak with him about setting up this tour and seeing if Tom would be interested. And the agent told him that it would have to be within the 2 weeks after the Super Bowl, guys, because Tom would already be preparing for next season. He wouldn't have time for anything else. I stay silent so you can let that register. Tom Brady just won his first Super Bowl. And 2 weeks after the Super Bowl was already getting prepared to prepare for next season. That is being obsessed. That's a level of obsession that we can't all get to, right? Actually, I won't say that. We can get to that level, but we're not there right now. Because most people, when you win a championship, you're going to celebrate. You're going to enjoy it. I would argue that my Chiefs were a little bit in la la land of winning the first Super Bowl in 50 years for the franchise. Was Patrick Mahomes 2 weeks after studying film, working on ways to get better? Yeah, we went through a pandemic. I understand that things are different. But when you really look at Super Bowl champions, I want to know, as far as quarterback goes, as far as great player goes, how many players were that dedicated and that obsessed with the game and their craft and being better and winning, that 2 weeks after winning the most prolific title in football, as far as the Super Bowl goes, you're already preparing for next season to make yourself better so you can do it again. So remember what I said earlier, greatness I understand, but there's levels of greatness. So yeah, it's great to win one Super Bowl, but most people can win that one Super Bowl and then their drive stops, right? That work ethic stops, right? That, oh, I got my goal, I'm good. Think about how obsessed you have to be to win and get that goal, that one time, and then you want more. So you start working and preparing for more. You don't even have time to celebrate. I'm looking at videos even right now of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers when they're in the locker room celebrating and they're all going crazy. And Tom Brady's over in the corner like, when's the next one? And he said in a news report, we'll be back. We're coming back next year. That's like, guys, that is a level of obsession that you just don't get. I mean, that is crazy levels of obsession, right? And to me, in order to be a great at that level, you have to be obsessed. Kobe Bryant, as I mentioned in my first episode, Kobe Bryant is the most successful basketball player that I grew up watching, right? 5 NBA championships. You can say LeBron, but I'm not going to speak on LeBron. Speaking on Kobe. 5 NBA championships, but two-time gold medalist. Kobe was Kobe. Kobe was obsessed with his craft. And in being obsessed with the game of basketball, that's where the work ethic was developed. That's where he outworked everybody. Jason Williams tells the story of the day that he walked into the LA gym and Kobe was working out. It was before a game. So Jay Williams on the other side working out. Teams do that. So they'll have one half of the court, they'll come out, warm up, get shots in way before the game, stretch, do all that. So Jay Williams said he's down on the other side. He walks in, Kobe's in there, he does that. He said that he finished his workout and Kobe was still warming up, working out prior to the game. They go and have the game. Kobe, I think, dropped 30 or 40. The Lakers win. And Jay Williams comes up to Kobe after the game and says, yo, how did you work out so long and still have it? Like, what was making you work out? And Kobe just looked at him and said, I wasn't going to let you outwork me. Like, that type of mental strength, that type of chess match that you're playing, I feel like all that comes with being obsessed with your craft because Kobe understood that, if in order for him to outwork people, it's going to be a mental thing too. But he was obsessed with figuring out the mental things. If you watch the Kobe Doing Work DVD, he's talking about how he on the court, he's understanding the analytics of the game. So he understands that if Tony Parker shoots from the corner, he has a higher percentage chance of making a shot than say a Danny Green if he was on the team at the time, or Bruce Bowen if he was on the team at the time. He understood all that. That goes back into the preparation, just like Tom Brady. These guys were so obsessed with their craft. They were so obsessed with winning. They were obsessed with greatness and wanting to be the best of all time that they paid attention to those details that made them that. Kobe is literally knowing what percentage you shoot on the floor and if you're likely to make it or not. More likely to make it or not from this spot than that spot because he's so in tune to the game. He's so in tune to his craft. He's so obsessed with wanting to be the greatest that he realized these are ways to make myself better and give myself an edge towards my competition. Now, can we do that? Yes. Do we need to do that? Yes. Are you doing that now? As far as I go, no. But I'm learning, right? That's what this podcast is for. We're learning. There is a level of obsession that we all need when we're trying to hit a goal, period. Within that level of obsession, things like details, preparation, commitment, dedication, the work ethic will fall in line if you're obsessed with what you're trying to get to. And I understand that some people have families and all those things. I get it. I'm not hating on you guys for doing that. But so did Kobe Bryant. So did Tom Brady. So did Michael Jordan, Serena Williams. Down the line, athlete for athlete. Those people have families. They had priorities that they had to take care of. They were still obsessed with their craft. So even in downtime, they're studying film. Yeah, I can tuck the kids in. I can watch a movie with the kids, but I'm still going to watch this film before I go to bed. Kobe even figured out that he only needed 5 hours of sleep and he could still be a full-time father, take his kids to school, get his workouts in, and continue to prepare. That's an obsession with being great that even he figured out ways to be a family man while still dedicating everything else he had to the game of basketball. Tom Brady's doing the same thing. Tom even switched up his diet to a more plant-based diet so he could perform better. Tom Brady is 43 years old, y'all. and he just won a Super Bowl, led his team to a Super Bowl. There's an obsession that has to be there. There's a level of obsession that you have to have. Tom has it. We need to get to that if we're going to be great. I do believe that. It takes time, but you can get that. I think Conor McGregor, even though he's fell off, I would argue that the reason he's fell off is his lack of focus here late, because he's not as obsessed with his craft as he was prior to winning two belts in two different divisions. But Conor says there's no talent here. This is hard work. This is an obsession. Talent does not exist. We're all equals as human beings. You can be anyone if you put in the time, you will reach the top. And that's that. I am not talented. I am obsessed. I love that quote. Don't agree with all of it, but I love that quote. Us all being created equal as human beings just ain't true. Sorry. I'm 5'9". LeBron James, 6'8", 260 pounds, runs like a running back. I'm sorry, but that's God-given genetics. He did put in the work and the time, but we're not all created equal, and that's okay. Okay. Where we are created equal is we all can control what we can control. I do believe that. So your work ethic, your approach, your perspective, your ability to be obsessed with being great, we can all control those things. We're equal in that point. So it's just figuring out where to channel that obsession. You don't have to be the most talented, but you can outwork somebody. And if you're obsessed enough with the goal that you're trying to reach, you will do that, right? That's simple. As a bodybuilder, I've seen plenty of bodybuilders outwork competition with the better genetics. So they came in tighter, fuller, drier, shredded to the bone. And the other person with the better genetics kind of half did it because he thought he had a one. What happened? Didn't win. So that's really all I have for today on this episode. Thank y'all for tuning in. I challenge you all to figure out what goal you want. Figure out what it is you want. You want to build a legacy? You want to be great? In whatever you do, I promise that there's going to be a level of obsession that you're going to have to reach in order to find that level. It's hard to not be obsessed with your craft and whatever you're trying to be great in and find that level of greatness. You can look at anybody anywhere. There's a certain level of obsession, whether it's being obsessed with competition, whether it's being obsessed with winning. Obviously, it's being obsessed with your craft, being obsessed with being great. There's a level of obsession there that you have to hit in order to be great. I do believe that. So again, that's all I got for today. I hope y'all have a great day. God bless. Continue to be great. Julian Peters, thank you for listening to my Untitled Podcast. Enjoy the rest of the week. Keep hitting your goals. Let's get it.